In the last episode, number 7, I talked about the importance of a healthy self-esteem for pretty much anyone, but specifically for leaders, even senior leaders, and what the lack of a healthy self-esteem could mean and what that could look like. So if you want to know more about that, go back to episode number 7 and look it up. Today I want to focus on self-criticalness, and one specific type of self-criticalness is when people start to beat themselves up when they made a mistake, especially a stupid mistake, and when that beating up is too much and too long. And to illustrate that, I want to share a quick story with you. And I invite you to imagine it's you what happened to me. A few years ago, probably 7-8 years ago, I went to Hong Kong airport and had a flight to Singapore. And as usual, I go through immigration and security. And as I went through these stations, I checked my boarding pass and I checked which gate number do I need to go to. Normal procedure. And it said gate 61. And as usual, I have a bad habit that I show up at the gate only about 20 minutes before departure. I'm not one of those people who sit there 1 hour before. And so I get to the gate 20 minutes before departure, and guess what? I looked up, and it did not say Singapore, it said Xiamen in China. I thought, how can that be? So I looked back at my boarding pass again, and guess what? I mixed up seat number with gate number. My seat number was in fact 61H. My gate number was 16. Now, if you know Hong Kong Airport a bit, then you know that gate number 61 is quite far out. I actually had to take a train to get there. But gate 16 is actually right on the other side of the airport. Unfortunately, in Hong Kong, you cannot take the train back. The train back works only on arrival area, and it's not easy to get there. So the only reasonable solution is to walk. But to walk from gate 61 to gate 16 takes easily 20-30 minutes, even if you go at a very brisk pace. So what did I think? What would you think? What would you think about yourself? Well, my first thought was, God, how can you be so stupid to mix up gate number and seat number? You could say that's a self-critical thought, right? And I think it's quite natural. At the same time, the question is not whether I think that, the question is how long do I think that? For 10 seconds, 10 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, a day, a week, some months, a year? I have heard people who were beating themselves up on such things even after weeks and months. I can tell you, for me, it took about 10 seconds. So you may wonder, how? How can you stop beating yourself up after such a short time? Well, my next thought was, could I have done it differently? And you would think, yes, of course you could. And the answer is no, I couldn't. Because if I could have, I would have. If I had the mental acuity to check more carefully, guess what? I would have checked more carefully. If I would have anticipated that if I don't check carefully, I might actually mix up the gates, guess what? I would have checked more carefully. But that was not on my mind at that time. At that time, I just glanced at it, thought I got it, and off I went. So it was, in a way, the best I could do, because if I could have done something better, I would have. Just to be very clear, that doesn't mean I'm not responsible. Of course, I am responsible. So the key to a healthy self-esteem, if that's something that makes you self-critical, is to recognize that it doesn't make sense to regret what we did, because again, if we could have done it better, we would have, but to regret the consequences of what we did, then to do whatever you can to fix it, and then make sure you don't do it again, or do it better next time. And that's exactly what I did. I thought about immediately as I walked through to the other gate, because I still wanted to give it a shot. I thought, which meetings am I going to miss? How do I get a new flight? When will I get it? What's the best way to book it? Who do I need to inform? Because some things will now move around. These are useful thoughts, right? And at the same time, a bit longer run, I thought, how do I make sure this never ever happens again? And I can tell you, it's now 7, 8 years later. I had a couple of hundred flights since then, and I never mixed up the gate number again, because now every time I not only check 2 times my boarding pass, just to be sure, I also check at the big screen, where's my boarding gate? Does it match with my gate, with my boarding pass? And this way, I've never missed my flight again. So I recently came across a quote which I really like a lot, and it quite nicely fits into this topic. And the quote goes like this: "Forgiveness is giving up the hope for a better past."